What's going on? So I'm here to talk about a subject that I think is very intriguing but necessary. So this is going to involve Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons, and 2x2s. And the issue is, are they stupid? And I don't think that they are. Now, a lot of people associate being deceived and staying in something for the rest of your life that is obviously wrong, that can be proven with empirical facts, as being associated with stupidity. Now, I'm not saying there's not an element of being foolish, being naive, and being stupid. However, I'm going to present this information from the perspective of being considerate and kind, whilst also remembering that I myself once was a JW. Although I was born into it and manipulated as a child, that definitely wouldn't have happened as an adult. However, I don't consider myself stupid whatsoever. Now, what's interesting is to remember, I personally, and I prayed about this, it doesn't seem appropriate to label a sincere person as seeking God if they're sincere. And we don't know people's heart. Matthew chapter 7, 1 through 4, and 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 7. But to look at a child that's seeking God, even if they were doing it out of obligatory measures, or an adult, somebody that's seeking God, that they were deceived, would God call that person stupid? And I would say no. Now, here is something to consider that I'm going to reveal during the latter portion of this video, why some people can fall into that category long term and why. But I would say this: anybody can be deceived, anybody can be tricked, and somebody can actually be a genius and still be tricked. If you were to go back and look at Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity as a whole, you'll find that a lot of brilliant geniuses were a part of destructive groups. And they were not the leaders of the groups. They were either spokesmen for it, and they really believed it. So that's the power of belief. As William James once said, believe and your beliefs will create the facts. Now, those facts may not actually be facts, but they're still facts, because if you tell a lie or tell the truth, it's still a fact. It will be a fact that you told a lie. It'll be a fact that you told the truth. It's understanding how to use the data to support the belief system and having the awareness of how the mind works with our subconscious, our conscious, and our unconscious mind. See, our subconscious is constantly the past. Our unconscious is future. And our conscious is present. See, what we want to do is link those three things together so that we can have awareness, because the brain can't interpret the difference between truth or falsity without you first saying, hey, is this information true or false? The brain is just being conditioned. Everything is conditioned, rather true or false. Believing in God is conditioned. That doesn't mean it is right or wrong. It's just conditioned, because your brain is born with a clean slate. You're born with a clean slate, not knowing anything. So the difference is recognizing that it's conditioning, no matter if it's true or not. But then asking the pivotal question, is the conditioning true? So when you think about how Mormons, and I'll say Mormons and 2x2s and Jehovah's Witnesses because they are very similar in their culture. I highly encourage Jehovah's Witnesses to download the Latter-day Saints app and really look at the structure and then compare it to the jworg app. Look at how they do their meetings. Look at how they do their meetups. Look at their process for getting baptized. And look at the same thing for 2x2s. Look at how they do their meetings. They all think that they have the truth. They're the only true religion. And their teachings are different, but their culture and how they go about doing things are different. They all shun, they all call each other apostates and of the devil and all that stuff. Everybody else is wicked and worldly. So it will be helpful for a Jehovah's Witness to watch 10 videos on why a Mormon left their religion. Watch 10 videos on why a 2x2 left their religion, or they also call the church with no name. And what's interesting, these two groups have been around longer than Jehovah's Witnesses. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, study them. I would challenge a 2x2 to watch videos on why a Jehovah's Witness left their religion, 10 videos. So if you're a Jehovah's Witness rather, watch 10 videos on why Mormons left their religion, because it's unbiased. They shouldn't bother you at all. Watch 10 videos on why 2x2s left their religion and notice the parallels. And then if you're a 2x2, do the same thing with Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons. And in Mormons, you do the same thing with Jehovah's Witnesses and 2x2s. So let's not call people stupid unless they fall into this category. It's more of a stupid spirit. Because if somebody genuinely was seeking truth and they allowed their own arrogance and narcissism to distract them away from truth, where information is plainly presented to them and they refuse to acknowledge it, that person does become stupid at that point, because the Bible does speak of stupidity. It's not that the person, well, some people do not have the mental cognition to comprehend certain things, because people have disabilities, they have intellectual disabilities and developmental disabilities and learning disabilities. And sometimes I work with people like that. They look normal and you would never know it until you get them to try to do simple math, reading comprehension and stuff like that. That's where you're going to see that their intellect is compromised. A lot of people don't understand just because you can read and do a few things, that doesn't mean that your brain is functioning well. Now, we should never look down on people, because you do have a category of people that have learning disabilities. Don't call them stupid, they just have learning disabilities. A true stupid person or a fool is somebody that is intelligent, that refuses to acknowledge the truth when it's presented to them. They become a fool, and they have a stupid spirit that they can get rid of. See, it's like somebody that's being in shape. That was in shape, let's say 20 years ago. Maybe they had a 5% body fat, and let's say now they have a 30% body fat, and let's say that they were a good weight, and now they're not a good weight anymore. That person keeps saying, hey, I used to be in shape. That was true. You were in shape, but now you're not in shape anymore. You're no longer healthy. So the person doesn't realize they're holding on to an image or memory that is no longer present. It's in the past. So likewise, somebody can be intelligent, but once you keep doing something that's not intelligent, at what point do you become unintelligent? If you're in a state of not being intelligent by doing something that's stupid, then even if you are a genius, we have to take that label away from you, because you're not acting like a genius now. So now that person would have the law of that stupid spirit to allow them to be stupid. Now they can get rid of it, just like a person that's not in shape anymore. They can go back to being in shape by exercising again and eating properly and being healthy. Now they can say they're in shape again. But some people are sometimes holding on to memories that's just a memory. So for example, if you were making straight A's in the 3rd grade, but in the 12th grade in high school, all you made was F, you're not an A student anymore. You used to be in the elementary, as an example. Now, you can change that even as an adult. You can start doing better by increasing your knowledge. And I think that is what's going on with a lot of this stuff, is that people are intelligent, they got deceived and tricked, and they're being arrogant with it because they don't want to admit that they're wrong. So at that particular state, they do become foolish, and they become a fool because that's the classic telltale sign of a fool, is somebody that can't be reasoned with and that thinks they know everything and they got it all figured out. And they're not even willing to hear your argument, because deep down, the stupid spirit that's within them knows that it's going to disrupt what they think is truth. So the only thing they can do is tuck their tail, put their hands over their ears, and run. That's obvious that the person can't defend what they're saying. Now, it is also just vital to remember that a person offended is harder to win over. So I know that may be the easy route, just to start calling people stupid and narcissistic. And a lot of that is true in many cases. But there are genuine people that are really misguided. Now, people that know the real truth and just don't care, maybe that person is not stupid. They're just evil at that particular point because they don't care about people. Now, somebody that's not capable of realizing the folly in their ways, they're not stupid. They just need help. They may have a learning disability. So a true fool is somebody that sees all the evidence and refuses to ignore it, and they're capable of getting it. They have the intellect to comprehend, they just don't care. So they become a true fool, and at that point, it is stupid. But people that are just genuine, they got deceived, and it would be better to look at them as victims, to look at them as a child that got taken advantage of. Now, we're not going to keep using this as an excuse long term for the rest of someone's life, but we're going to first give them an opportunity, or I suggest giving them an opportunity to see if they are sincerely misguided or they are sincerely just foolish. So share your comments on this. Do you believe that people are just stupid, that deny facts once it's presented to them? Do you think it's coupled with some mental illness, learning disabilities, the sunk cost fallacy, a whole bunch of cognitive dissonance, some cognitive distortions, things along that sort? Share all of that, because I think this is an important subject to discuss. And I think that we want to always remember that we have to always see ourselves in other people. And if we have the ability to reason better on certain subjects, look at that as a gift and share it to help people versus criticizing them. And I know that it's difficult to not say certain things, but at the end of the day, we all are stupid in different ways. We all make dumb decisions. I've done a lot of stupid stuff in my life, and I'm just thankful that I can look back on it, that I've grown from it. And that's just not just with religion, just my decision making on certain things. Because sometimes we let our feelings get in the way. I think our feelings make us act stupidly because our feelings are kind of shut down our logic. So I think it's so important to function with our mind and our feelings and sync them together to make sure it is correct emotionally and logically, so that we don't have a stupid feeling that causes us to think stupid. We need to have a smart feeling and a smart thought. So like, share, subscribe, and comment on my channel. And I really look forward to hearing your thoughts on this. And take care and have a great weekend. And be blessed.